Good evening and welcome everyone to Big Talk, your global television. You're watching us live on DSTV channel 365 and of course on Star Times channel 276. Tonight we'll be looking at the state of the nation in respect to the fact that there's a leading widespread hardship and anger in the country. As of today, a liter of petrol costs more than 3 times what it did 9 months ago, while the price of staple food price and more has doubled in the past 1 year. These figures allow the difficulties that many Nigerians are facing as the wages have not kept up with the rising cost of living. Like the fact that some of the policies Mr. President have introduced has driven some of these reforms in terms of reactions in the economic sector. To discuss the current state of the nation, I'm being joined tonight on the program by Kenneth Okonkwo, a communist lawyer and a former spokesperson of BDATI Presidential Campaign Organization. Kenneth Okonkwo was also an actor, an Hollywood renowned actor, before turning into a politician in the country. Tonight is live here on the program to discuss the current state of the nation. Good to have you join us on the program.
Thank you very much.
It's a big pleasure for Global Television first to have you join us on this show.
Well, it's an honor that you invited me for your maiden edition.
Absolutely.
And let me thank all the viewers for joining in. You know, as your name signifies, Global TV, your appearance on DSTV, I think is in line towards achieving your name. Making information, current affairs, education, entertainment, etc. available to the whole world. I wish you well.
Thanks so much for the compliment. We deeply appreciate it. Let's get into the issue. For the fact that democracy in the country has not reflected what it means for Nigerians in respect to dividends that many Nigerians ought to gain from. To your assessment, I understand we earlier celebrated 25 years of unbroken democracy in the country. In respect to conflicting court orders judgment, in respect to the rule of law, in respect to National Assembly affairs and all of that, what can you really say in respect to our country's democracy? Because it seems some people say if military rule probably would have been better than what we are practicing.
Well, it's because we erroneously think that we are in a democracy. With profound respect, we are not in a democracy. I think the best description of what we are in now is democracy, demonstration of craze. Are you saying we are in a democracy? Democracy means government of the people. If we are in a democracy, for instance, how can an FCT minister, an unelected appointee of a government, tell an elected senator, for instance, that in 2027, we will fail you? That is simply an acknowledgement that we are not in a democracy. A man who is not registered in FCT is telling an elected person that he will fail her. You know what that means? The votes of the people do not count. Because if the votes of the people count, there is no way an unelected appointee that is not a registered member, who will not be part of the people that will determine who will be FCT senator, will come boldly and tell the world that we will fail you. And you know what he said? He said he thought it would be like 2023. Meanwhile, in 2023, the votes of the people counted. And that was why he is saying, in 2027, the votes of the people will not count. And we will fail you. That has simply explained to you that what we are having is not government of the people. It's government, according to Senator Aline Dume, of kakistocrats and kleptocrats. And you know what that means? Kakistocrats is a word that came from Greece. Kakisto means worst. So kakistocracy simply means government of the worst. Kakistocracy means government that is peopled by the most incompetent people on earth. That's why they use the word worst. In other words, leadership by people who are thieves. This is Aline Dume talking. That is kleptocracy. Government by compulsive thieves and corrupt people. You know, when we're young, when they say you're a kleptomaniac, you steal compulsively, even when you don't need it. That is the government we are in. And Alin Dume added one phrase. He said, most unscrupulous people. He said, kakistocracy is the government of most unscrupulous people. So we are now governed by people who are incompetent, who are corrupt, who are unscrupulous, on people that do not have conscience. That is why in 25 years, rather than moving forward as democracy would have promised, we are moving backwards. Like you rightly pointed out, not just that fuel is 900 per liter. It's not even available. Not even that food is so costly. Bag of rice, 100,000. Bag of tomatoes, 100,000. Bag of maize, 100,000. Don't take my words for it. I am just quoting exactly what Alin Dume said. And it is unavailable, it is unaffordable. And the New Year message of this president, you know what he said? He said the people expect him to revamp the economy, revitalize the industrial sector, boost agriculture, and restore security. Half into the year, we are going into importation of food. So automatically, agriculture has been bastardized. No security for the farmers to go to farm. So food is becoming not just unavailable, but unaffordable. You're talking about revamping the economy. Most businesses have collapsed. And let me tell you the one that is hurting my soul. You may have just heard that Heritage Bank has just collapsed.
Who come to that?
Yes, it's part of the economy. Let's deal with it. You know why? Because when banks collapse, the economy will become irretrievably bad. This is a government that said it is going to share about 4.3 trillion trillion naira to the people. Why don't you use this money now and shore up the depositors' funds in Heritage Bank? Let me tell you the danger. In America, just last year, Signature Bank was to go down. Joe Biden went on air and told them that no depositor will lose his funds because he understood the consequences of banks collapsing. When depositors lose their funds, all the small scale and medium scale enterprises that all those depositors are behind will collapse. Now, immediately he said that, the other banks that would have collapsed, that have money in Signature Bank, all of them stood still. Soludo, when he was central bank governor, he said they are consolidating banks so that no bank will fail again. Subsequent governments, before any bank is weak, they will dictate it and make sure it doesn't fail. But you know what this CBN did under Tinubu? By December, as at December 27th, they released a communique telling depositors that they should ignore all the things you people have been saying, the media, that this bank is strong and that they should keep on banking.
What's that? That was to deceive customers.
Yes, December 27th. And you know the irony of it? The one that is very pathetic. April 26th, 2024, they listed the names of healthy banks. And Heritage Bank was there. 5 weeks after, they told the world the bank has collapsed. So I am using this medium to appeal to the federal government to please, all these palliatives that they are sharing and wasting, he can at least use it to revamp the economy. Use it to make sure that no depositor loses its funds. What Americans did with the Signature Bank, they consolidated it and they sold it. Now it is called Flagstar Bank and nobody lost any money in it. It happened in Soludo's time, even in Sanusi's time, even in all those ones. Any bank that is to collapse, they will catch the bank earlier. That is how to revamp the economy. Now, you're talking about Naira exchange. We're going to 2,000 Naira to $1. We went almost there. What is it that sustains your Naira? They are borrowing dollars to sustain Naira. No. Naira can only be sustained because strong currency is predicated on strong economy. And strong economy presupposes an industrial productive base and a steady export market. Now, if this president said he will revitalize the industrial sector, that is what he will concentrate on if he wants Naira to appreciate, not allowing the industries to be collapsing every day. You saw how all the foreign companies in Nigeria are packing up. The Manufacturers Association in Nigeria said that more than 50% of the manufacturing plants are going down. Why? Because one, frequent policy flip-flop. Two, astronomical energy costs, hyperinflation, toxic operating environment, multiple charges. These things, you don't take care of them. Electricity tariff has been increased by more than 3 times. If you don't take care of them, the cost of production will rise so high that people will not be able to afford it, and the companies will be collapsing. Because without demand, they cannot sell. So we are in a situation where we are going down. According to Ali Ndube, he said if this government does not change from being thieves, from being corrupt people, this government will go down. My only prayer. If they want Nigeria to go down, they will go down and Nigeria will go over by the grace of God.
All of these push blame to bad leadership. And when the president came on board, President Tinubu said, "You will hit the ground running." But it appears to many Nigerians that we are experiencing the worst time in the country. In your assessment, he has introduced some policies. He has brought in some interventions from, according to the report and statistics. But does it mean that it doesn't reflect, the reality of Nigerians? Or it's about us just hearing it from papers and statement from the Minister of Information? What does it look like?
Because the truth is that he has not introduced any intervention. A situation where he said he's giving money to 4 vulnerable states, Lagos, Ogun, Cross River, and Akwa Ibom. And he said he's going to give them 585 million, which was already paid into private account. And 3.2 billion naira is used for consultancy to dash the fellow ministers, to give them the names of the vulnerable people. So what intervention is that? They will tell you they are sharing 20 trucks of rice, 25 kg, in all the states of the federation. Who is monitoring it? Nobody from my village has gotten any bag of rice. So they are sharing money amongst themselves. They say they gave 90 billion naira to the people that went for Hajj. And those people came back and said they nearly died of hunger. That it should be investigated. So what are they sharing? They are not intervening. Like I've told you, if you want to intervene, Mr. President, ensure that every depositor in the Heritage Bank does not lose their money. This is intervention. Why? Their list is known. About 3,000 of them. The money that your agency told them that it is strong. So they did not make any available plan to exit. It is your duty. Central Bank owned up in the letter that it is our duty to ensure that the financial system is sound. So that is what is intervention. Not sharing money amongst your ministers, amongst the APC kleptomaniacs, according to Senator Ali Ndube. And you're saying you're intervening. If you want to intervene, go back, let fuel go back to its normal price. That is intervention. What he's doing is that he's removing intervention that benefits the poor man and introducing interventions through which they will be vandalizing the money. What is 21 billion naira for the house of your VP? Within 6 months, that's already done. What is 21 billion?
So are they having misplaced of priorities in this government?
They don't have priorities at all. If you say misplaced, it's a different thing. You could be doing a good thing, but doing it at the wrong time. But they are doing wrong things, meaning they don't have priorities at all. What has the issue of the vice presidential official residence to do within 6 months of your coming in? Now, 20 billion you gave to your chief of staff. They say they're acquiring electronics, this and that. Then billions to the first lady. This is not priority at all. When in his New Year message, did you hear him say, one of my priority is to give billions to the first lady? Did you hear him say that? So they are not pursuing the priorities they say they will pursue. They are pursuing the priorities of corruption, of stealing, of incompetence. You revamp the economy, revitalize the industrial sector. How do you revitalize the industrial sector? Is it not by targeting the people that are the SMCs, this, that? They will tell you they are giving money to this and that. No. What we want to see is that agriculture is being boosted, because you need an agrarian revolution whereby we have food sufficiency in our country, and we are exporting. Can you imagine Ukraine? Ukraine is fighting a superpower nation, a country, yet they have enough food that they are exporting grains to Africa to help poor countries, including Nigeria. Nigeria is now a beggar nation. And then, when you are importing food, let me tell you the danger. You are still going to use your foreign exchange to import those food, meaning the foreign exchange will depreciate further. And you said you are going to give them tariff, it's going to be tariff free, meaning you're reducing your revenue. Then you are no longer secured food-wise because it's based on importation. So if anything happens to you, you will go straight to Kwashoko. So this government has no priorities except, like Alindume said, that of kakistocracy and kleptocracy. That is just their agenda, and it's unfortunate.
Some of the many challenges we face are also from the fact some of the policies from CBN. If you look at the inflation rate from 22.41% as at last year to May to the fact that we're having 34.19%. The CBN has introduced some policies in terms of also bureau de change registrations and all of that to reduce a lot of pressure on the naira. To you, does it seem that there is what's more to be done? Because when you look at this inflation rate, a lot of Nigerians are having issues of purchasing power. It falls back to the fact that we are still having crisis with dollar and naira. What to you is your assessment of the central bank?
The central bank is a failure. Just the summary of it. Why am I saying so?
But some people will argue that last administration was the
same. I would want. That is why APC is a scourge to this nation.
But you were once a member of APC.
Before all these shenanigans, and I never held any post in APC. So as a Nigerian, a party is open to every Nigerian. You get in there, you ensure that if you want to occupy any post, it must be for the good of the people, or you don't occupy at all. So being a member of any political party does not bestow on you the responsibility to perform. You must have to have a post. I never held any post in APC. Now, I said CBN is a failure. You have just started with the Heritage Bank. A bank that is the banker's bank. A bank that the duty is to sustain the health of any bank. And yet we are assuring people that there is no danger. And suddenly the bank collapsed. Is that the CBN of your dream? Some people have died from shock out of that Heritage Bank. Died, and I mean it. Now, can you imagine a bank that is increasing interest rates when you are in a depressed economy? You're increasing the interest that people will pay to obtain a loan when they are depressed. How will they pay it back? Almost 35%. Dangote said this is the worst policy and no company can survive on that. And yet you say you want to revitalize the industrial sector. Meanwhile, they ought to be reducing the rate because you want to empower the enterprises so that they can borrow and produce. Yet you're saying you want to help the people. So this CBN, either they are possessed or they are incompetent, or somebody is telling them what to do just to be accumulating money to the government. Look at NNPC, for instance. They said December last year that they were going to start operating. And money was budgeted for it in billions of dollars. They said, okay, it was mechanically completed when December reached. Dishonest people. Dishonesty is one of the characteristics of kakistocracy. After that, they say no, February. After that, they are now saying August. We're going to 2 years of this administration. Nothing has happened. No change in the oil industry. No change in the manufacturing industry. Consumption. When we came in, we say we want to shift emphasis from consumption to production because productivity is the life of any nation. Now, nobody is producing, not even food. And this government is saying they're achieving what? What are you achieving? This government has borrowed almost 50 trillion naira in 1 year plus. This government inherited the debt burden of 77 trillion naira. Now it is 120 trillion naira. And do you know the bill that is before the National Assembly? That the budget deficit of 2024 that has not reached 6 months, that they need more 6.2 trillion naira. What are they doing with this? That is why they want to collect money, even from whether you're doing homosexualism or not. Once you can give them money. May God save us from this government, because they want to take us down to bondage. As a young man, I knew what it is to live in bondage in a movie. I knew what it is to be delivered. May God deliver these people from living in bondage, because I'm no longer living in bondage. I am delivered. I just wish Nigeria the same deliverance.
We are buying things from the same market like other Nigerians. We have other people also getting the fact that it's more than 3 years to go with this government. To you, how do we begin to place the fact that we must get the attention of the government to fix the issues? We understand that it's quite enormous. Does it look like the president do not have competent persons around him?
You know, my heart just skipped when he said 3 years. My heart just skipped. A lot of parents are withdrawing their children from school. They can't afford it. They cannot even afford to use car to take their children to school. So they now get schools around their place that their children can trek to school. Doing this for the next 3 years. That is why we are saying, why do you think Nigerians go to church? They go to church because they are hopeless. And this government has ensured them renewed hopelessness. And because they are hopeless, everybody is just resigning to fate. Well, thank God they are not in Kenya. As Kenyans don't go to church, they go to the street to demand for their rights. Look at how this government is treating human rights. People wanted to protest today. They were stopped from exercising their freedom to protest. When Abdul Ningi went to the house to state his opinion, they suspended him. Alin Dume stated his opinion and they demoted him and warned him, if you talk again, they will suspend you. You know what? I don't have any pity for Alin Dume. You know why? When we were doing the campaign, I was involved in the campaign. This was a man who never granted any press interview. But you, Alin Dume, was saying he's the best. This was a man who did not attend any debate. You, Alin Dume, you were saying he's the best. This was a man who, when he's under pressure, he starts speaking in tongues, showing incoherence in thought and incoherence in words. You, Alin Dume, you were saying he is the best. Now, the chicken has come back to roost. He is now in. One Ndume's sister, I think one Najiato, said, I had one-on-one with this man. I can vouch he does not have the mental and physical capacity to govern this country. Alin Dume, no, he is the best. And after imposing Tinubu on the people, Alin Dume did not stop there. Alin Dume was the chief spokesperson of Akpabio, taking him to the north, to the east, to the west, speaking the Yoruba, maybe the little one he knows, and the Igbo, and the Akpabio is there now. Akpabio is the one who read his demotion. Tinubu is there. He said Tinubu is unaccessible. The truth is that the unaccessibility of Tinubu is not because he doesn't want to see people. It's because he doesn't have the capacity. He doesn't have the physical and the mental capacity. So he's being shielded. So Alin Dume knew all these things and intentionally helped to bring him to power. Now that you don't have access, now that you are being excluded, you are now shouting. You are a man of truth. Oh, this man should be removed. Oh, kleptocracy. He said the truth. But this was the truth he would have said before bringing these people to power. Having brought this people to power, let me state it clearly. Anybody that helped to bring this government to power, and you want to tell us this government is not performing, please apologize to Nigerians first before you can begin to say this government is not performing, because you knew it and then you entered into it. It was an intentional, and let me tell you, it has not stopped. They went to north, deceived the north with Muslim ticket. Now they fed them with religion, and you know what? There is no reception to theology when a man is hungry. When the emir of Kanu, when the first lady visited the emir of Kanu, what the emir of Kanu, Ado Bayero, was saying was begging her, please tell the president, my people are hungry. He did not tell the woman to tell the president, my people want to go to Hajj. Because you have to eat first before you can go to Hajj. Prophet Muhammad, may God bless him, peace be unto his soul, he said you can go to Hajj when you can afford it and when you are healthy. This government is helping people to afford going to Hajj, but it's not helping them to eat. Let me tell you, when they go to that Hajj, they won't even hear what the preacher is saying because their stomach will be rumbling. So we are just in a mess, and may God save us.
All right. We'll have to go on a break. Once we return, we'll be looking at more issues. Critical among them is a recent Supreme Court judgment on local government autonomy, what it means for governors' interference. Also, we'll look at some level of internal politics, democracy in Nigeria's political party, most especially Labour Party, that Kenneth Okonkwo was a member and a spokesman. We'll be back after this break. Do stay with us.
For an insightful idea that takes the center stage and the conversation that gets beyond the headlines, to explore the lasting impact of political decisions, Big Talk got you covered. From policy debates to geopolitical insights, from thought-provoking discussions to actionable insight.
What is the real responsibility of government?
Big Talk delves deep into the heart of the matter. Join us weekdays on global televisions from 6:30 p.m. for a reverting journey into the heart of politics, where we dissect issues shaping our society.
With every government,
Many thanks everyone for still staying with us on Big Talk. I'm still having my guest, Kenneth Okonkwo, a columnist, lawyer, and a former spokesperson in the B30 Presidential Campaign Council. He's still here to give some understanding on the issues of national importance. Most recently, there have been controversy if you are still a member of Labour Party or not. I understand it may be some press stunt. What is your position about Labour Party? Because I understand we're also having some internal crisis in the party. Before we move forward.
Oh, well, I am still a member of Labour Party, but I said that I am not in support of the purported Abure-led National Working Committee. As things stand now in Labour Party, we do not have a working committee. There's no National Working Committee because the law is very clear. Section 82, subsection 3 made it clear that the mode of electing the national executive of a political party is by all the members of the political party or by their duly elected delegates. We did not have any duly elected delegates. I am a member of Labour Party. I was not even informed. Was there any media house that you ever heard that there is a national convention of Labour Party? It was from a leaked letter that people began to see that there is a nocturnal secret society style of some people coronating themselves as executives, not electing themselves through the membership of the party. So I am saying, I am fighting for a new Nigeria that is based on equity, justice and fairness, that is based on true democracy. I cannot be seeing the speck in other people's eyes while I have a log of wood in my eye. So the issue here is that Labour Party did not conduct an all-inclusive national convention as required by law and by even a court judgment. By 2018, The Federal High Court made it clear that the NLC is an institutional recognized body, especially in Labour Party. And Abude himself signed an agreement that he was going to conduct an all-inclusive convention. That he did not do. And then you want to tell people, and you're claiming you are a member of Labour Party. Let me tell you what Labour Party said. In Objective Article 8C, he said their aim is to create a new Nigerian personality that will be patriotic, altruistic, and committed to transparency and rule of law. And then you want to organize a convention and you could not be transparent. You could not go through the rule of law. And you want people like me to follow you? No. So I said, I am not part of that charade. So now, Labour Party does not have NWC. That is why the NLC and other stakeholders, because NLC is an institutional stakeholder in Labour Party, even in the constitution of Labour Party. Some posts are reserved for NLC. So being an institutional stakeholder, there is nothing that says that the party cannot have an alliance or a cooperation of other association. The stakeholders came together and established a transition committee, National Transition Committee, headed by the former president of NLC, Abdul Wahid Omar. And so that is the recognized and authentic body now that is in charge of Labour Party. Let me tell you, anybody who is purporting to be a candidate, who goes to Abure-led NWC to collect any form or any money, you're doing it at your own risk. In any case, you will even fail. Because who will want to follow corrupt people? I want you to know that the leader of Labour Party issued an instruction that that convention should not hold, that they should consult people before they hold that convention. And he did not attend. And then he went ahead, disobeyed him, disobeyed the constitution, disobeyed the Electoral Act, disobeyed the party's constitution, and you're saying you are purporting to have conducted an election. Excuse me? That is not an election. That's a criminal act. They should all be apprehended for indulging in secret society. And after that, have you ever seen a national convention where no post was contested? Not even one. You just saw people raising their hands. And then they're telling you they have a national executive. Which national executive? Of which party? That's voodoo.
All right. We wish that issues of the Labour Party will be put to rest. Understand the fact that many Nigerians, young Nigerians, have the backing of Labour Party in the last election. So
sure.
It means that there is a need to put the house to order moving forward.
I agree with you completely.
All right. Let's get to Rivers State. There's been a very a heated political crisis in Rivers State. Recent, at the last PDP meeting, they had to now throw their weight behind the governor. To your understanding, we now have two houses of assembly carrying out the same legislative functions with the constitution. What is your understanding at this time as a lawyer in the issues of Rivers State crisis?
My understanding is that there are no two houses of assembly in Rivers State.
But the interpretation of court order from both these
No.
pro-wike lawmakers
Yes.
and the governor lawmakers.
None. You can help me and tell me any court order that interpreted it that when a man defects from his party to another party, that he retains his seat. As long as there is no court that has said so, those 27 members, they are ordinary Nigerian citizens. They're just having meeting there. I'm sure they eat ECAU and all those things. They just go to party.
They also had ultimatum, 7 days ultimatum to the governor.
7 days had
So
gone.
let's take it lightly.
7 days had gone. What happened? Let them extend it. Let them continue to renew it until their tenure goes. They can do nothing. Let me tell you, our impunity and lawlessness in this country have made us to believe that you do the wrong thing, then you stay on the wrong thing until the courts rules otherwise. No. That's not how rule of law works. You do the right thing. You remain on the right thing until the court rules otherwise. The right thing by section 109, subsection 1G, is that you vacate your seat as a member of the House of Assembly if you leave the party that sponsored you for another party, except the first party is dead or in a state that it can no longer function as a political party. This is the law. PDP is alive, even though as they confess that they are stomach infrastructure party, but they are still alive.
They came second in the last election.
Because of their stomach infrastructure, they ought to have confessed. So
the Labour Party gave turbulence to them. Some said
absolutely
many person left PDP to Labour Party
because of their stomach infrastructure. Because if they had done the right thing by their constitution, ceded the post of the presidency to the south at least, and southeast to be precise, they wouldn't have had the problem that they had. So the issue here.
All right, let's go on a break. We'll be right back for the discussion.
For an insightful idea that takes the center stage and the conversation that gets beyond the headlines, to explore the lasting impact of political decisions, Big Talk got you covered. From policy debates to geopolitical insights, from thought-provoking discussions to actionable insight,
What is the real responsibility of government?
Big Talk delves deep into the heart of the matter. Join us weekdays on global televisions from 6:30 p.m. for a reverting journey into the heart of politics, where we dissect issues shaping our society.
Many thanks everyone for still staying with us on Big Talk. And of course, I'm still having a one-on-one session, the program with Kenneth Okonkwo, who is explaining this time to the issues in Rivers State, because it's quite becoming very sad, because Rivers State governance has been held ransom. The governor seems not to really perform by this action. To you, what can be done to put to rest? We've seen the intervention of the president a month ago, which hasn't given a lot of result. What can be done to put these issues to rest? Is it the judiciary that is at stake there?
Now, like I was telling you, the last judgment I heard simply said that the court does not have jurisdiction. That is, the trial court does not have jurisdiction, and that they should return to status quo. What is the status quo? The status quo is that these members left the party that sponsored them, defected to another party, and lost their seats. Like I said, that's the law. Until a court rules otherwise, that's the status quo. That's why their seat will continue to be vacant until a court says they are restored. And I give you an example. When Shaibu was purportedly impeached by the House of Assembly, he remained impeached until a court says otherwise. So those men are no longer there. Intervention did not succeed, and we knew it would not succeed. Interventions succeed when you judge according to justice, not according to what will favor you. The president called them in and said it will be irresponsible of him as a father that children were born into his house, and so it will be irresponsible of him not to accept them. With profound respect to you, sir, the children were not born into your house. The children were stolen into your house. And that was why the agreement was dead on arrival. Why? There were actions the governor had taken even before the agreement. Before that agreement, he had already presented his budget to a legitimate House of Assembly, which had approved of it. And he had already started spending on it. So it would not be possible for him to go and represent the budget to another house. So if these people were intelligent, they would have even left those ones that he had executed and then moved from there. So the issue is that the agreement was dead on arrival. So today, the governor, from what I learned, is doing his job. He's going to the House of Assembly, approving his duties and actions. What would happen is that the courts should accelerate the judicial process, deliver judgment based on justice, and then we'll move on from there.
All right. We'll now get your take on this issue of a Supreme Court judgment on local government autonomy. Some experts are arguing that yes, it's a good thing for the president, but some are also concerned about interferences of by governors. We've seen the recent election in Delta State and Adamawa State. Yes. The PDP opposed to sweep all the chairmanship position, leaving just one ward councillorship to another party. Is this a reflection of autonomy to your understanding?
Now, you have fiscal autonomy, you have political autonomy. Now, the Supreme Court gave a sound judgment in the fiscal economy. Because if you ask me, Section 162, subsection 3 of the Constitution, 3, 4, 5, they made it clear that the amount standing to the credit of the federation account shall be distributed between and among the federal, the state, and the local governments in a manner and on such terms that should be decided by the National Assembly. That's the Constitution. So the joint account was not meant for the governors to be in control. The joint account formally was established so that the governors can pay what is due from the state to the local government to the same account before shifting it to the local government. But the governors, we are not doing it. So it was a surplusage, that provision. So what the Supreme Court simply said is, sorry, the intention of the drafters of this constitution is that the money of the local government should reach them and directly too. It was not meant for the states to tamper with it. Now that the state is tampering with it, as a policy-making court, we now rule that the money should go straight to them. There is no injustice that any state governor can come out to say will happen to him as a result of the judgment. Because that's how you check whether the judgment is based on justice. Because you were not meant to tamper with the fund in the first place. So it's a sound judgment. That reminded me what happened in the case of Atiku and INEC. When Obasanjo set up a panel and they indicted him, and they said the Constitution say the indictment stops you from contesting. And the Supreme Court said no, that the panel was not established in a manner that could secure their independence and impartiality. Even though that section was there in the Constitution. But it could not rhyme with the intention of the framers of the Constitution. And the Supreme Court struck it down. That was why Atiku contested. So that is exactly by analogy what happened. So the Supreme Court has struck that joint account down and said the money should go straight. However, you need political independence to be able to secure the fiscal independence. Because he that pays the piper dictates the tune. As you have rightly pointed out, the governors are the ones who appoint the local government chairman in a demonstration of craze, not democracy. The people have never been given opportunity to elect their local government chairman. We started with our stand, where are we in democracy? This is one other caricature of democracy. Where any party, even if the party produced the governor yesterday, and they conduct local government election today, they will win everything, including councillorship. The last local government election that I attended in Enugu State, which made me to say I will not attend again. On that day in the polling unit, there was no result sheet. So people will just go, spend their money, and after voting, they will go and announce results. So what the government should do is that they should go step further, take a step further, and ensure that INEC organizes the elections into the local government councils, so that the impact of Section 7.1, which states that the system of local government by democratically elected local government councils is under this constitution guaranteed, and every state shall ensure its existence under a law that provides for its establishment, structure, composition, finance and functions of such councils. You cannot achieve it with the SIEC, that's the state independent. There's nothing like that. So we must have to put life to our constitution by ensuring that INEC conducts the election.
All right, let me take your statistics as it that we have 35 members in the House of Reps of Labour Party out of 360.
Yes.
We have 8 out of 109 in the Senate. Are you bothered that we have probably lost the voices of senators and House of Reps members in the National Assembly, owing to the fact that the National Assembly ought to play a good role in tackling some of these issues, oversight and all of those concerns? What is your concern, briefly?
When you don't have good leadership at the party level, who is going to be pushing these people to represent the party? I just told you we don't have a national working committee. You just have people parading themselves. If INEC accepts Abure and his colleagues, then they have collected money from them. Then they are part of the corruption. Why am I saying it? Because INEC did not go for the convention. They were not duly invited because the notice given to them was not as stated by the law, section 82. And the Constitution and the Electoral Act made it clear. Section 82(5) said, if you do not give the notice, the convention is invalid. INEC did not monitor it. So INEC cannot recognize Abure and his colleagues. Then when you don't have a very good party that have the structures, who will now be meeting regularly with these people, telling them, this is the manifesto of the party. This is what you should defend. They are not doing it. So those people in the National Assembly, they are left to think individually.
Because there are some Nigerians who may say that even the SUV cars that were given to other senators, senators of Labour Party ought to have rejected them.
I condemned their accepting it in some fora. But that should have been the duty of the party, insisting that disciplinary action will be meted out to anybody who does this. Because this is an anti-people policy. And you just reminded me, that's part of the kleptomanic, adventure of this government. You're buying SUVs, imported, 100% imported. Whenever they want to service that car, all the spare parts will be 100% imported. You have locally made vehicles.
They said they need them for oversight functions and to visit some
Let them go and carry innocent. Let them go and carry made in Nigeria cars. What they need is mobility. In any case, so every 4 years, we spend billions for people. And you know what they said? They said they need the foreign SUVs because our roads are bad. For 25 years of democracy, your roads are still bad. You see why they are most unscrupulous set of people in the world. You created the bad roads. You stole the money that was meant for the bad roads. Then you need an SUV imported to ride on the bad roads. And the people are dying, they cannot eat. Alin Dume said he is scared because the level of hunger will get to the level whereby those people will now start eating them up.
All right. Lastly, those that are watching, they might want to get some clarity on what your presidential candidate then would have done differently, because even the issues of fuels removal, it was also part of his campaign promises. What do you think would have been done differently to tackling all of this? And the solution for Mr. President, because it looks that it's out of idea.
Good. First of all, election is over. So this is not the time of saying what somebody said he would have done differently, since the person is not in power. What we should concentrate on is the people that are in power. What they are doing, is it affecting the lives of the people better? If you remove subsidy in a situation where you are importing your fuel 100%, you are at the mercy of the international fluctuation of naira. And then this government not only removed subsidy, they depreciated the naira by 300%. From about 500 naira, it went to 1,500. And now it is more. You know what that means? It means that even the government itself can no longer afford the fuel at the price they bought it when they removed subsidy. So even the government now is still paying subsidy because of their incompetence in managing the macroeconomic situation of Nigeria. You do not leave your naira.
All right, let's go on a break. We'll be right back to finalize this discussion.
For an insightful idea that takes the center stage and the conversation that gets beyond the headlines, to explore the lasting impact of political decisions, Big Talk got you covered. From policy debates to geopolitical insights, from thought-provoking discussions to actionable insight,
What is the real responsibility of government?
Big Talk delves deep into the heart of the matter. Join us weekdays on global televisions from 6:30 p.m. for a reverting journey into the heart of politics, where we dissect issues shaping our society.
With every government and introduction of new policies, businesses of all kinds and sizes seize the opportunity to evolve and redefine themselves. Business Point on global television is where we follow the money and put the facts and figures right in front of you. Watch Business Point every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. as Kikelamo Okeri tracks all the latest developments across critical sectors. Business Point, this is business.
Many thanks, everyone, for staying with us on Big Talk. In a bid to round up the conversation with Kenneth Okonkwo, because the fact that lives of over more than 200 million of Nigerians are at stake in respect to some of these policies reformed by the president and all of this. What should the government do urgently in addressing these challenges to rescue the hardship? We saw protests in Niger State because of cost of food and all of that. We do not want this to rise as a time bomb. And of course, the repetition of what happened in Kenya to happen in Nigeria, because we might not have the structure to withstand all of that. To your concern, what should be done differently to fix all of these issues? I understand you are not in government.
Very simple. Productivity. You have your foil refineries lying idle. This government had paid collectively, or is even paying maybe about 100 and something billion, let's say 160 something billion naira, to workers in the refinery industry without their producing a single liter. So what should be done is repair your refineries, then encourage these private, refineries. Dangote is saying that the IOCs are not supplying him fuel in a country where we ought to have the fuel flowing like river. So you can see how everything is disjointed. We must go back to boosting agriculture, ensuring the farmers go to farm and that the farmers' yield is protected. Let this government take all this money they are using to import to buy from the farmers when they cannot finish their product, as in selling their product, so that they don't make losses, and find storage places, ensure security, so that we can have self-sufficiency and have enough to export. Let education. Can you imagine this government? You said you are dashing people 4.3 trillion naira, but you are lending money to students to go to school. Why don't you give the students grants? Do you know that the agreement with ASO since 2009 is still not implemented? So implement those agreements. Ensure that you have peace in the industries. Ensure productivity, and then ensure security. Let him, as he promised, revamp the economy, revitalize the industrial sector, boost agriculture, and restore security. When I was coming earlier in the day, I watched your TV. At the news bar, you know what I saw? Katsina elders lambast federal government for insecurity. At your news bar, let him secure this nation. We are still highly insecure.
A big thank you to Kenneth Okonkwo, a communist, actor, lawyer, and a former spokesperson to B-Dirty Presidential Campaign Council in the last election. I want to say a very big thank you. Global Television really appreciate your appearance on the program. We're looking forward to having you more for a robust engagement and interaction for the interest of the nation, which is just the paramount thing. Thanks so much for joining us on tonight's edition. And that's the package and the size of tonight's show. I'm looking forward again. See you tomorrow. We'll be taking a look at other major political issues on the program. My name is Edikat Michael. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. We deeply appreciate it. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you.
With every government and introduction of new policies, businesses of all kinds and sizes seize the opportunity to evolve and redefine themselves. Business Point on Global Television is where we follow the money and put the facts and figures right in front of you. Watch Business Point every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. as Kikelamo Okeri tracks all the latest developments across critical sectors. Business Point, this is business.
Are you ready to be entertained like never before? Get ready to dive into the latest and greatest entertainment news in lifestyle, music, movies, birthday celebration, and so much more. All on Entertainment Circle on Global Television. From the hottest red carpet event to exclusive interviews with your favorite stars, we've got you covered. Stay up to date with the latest trends and news from the entertainment world. All